metal on this thing is in very good shape. Very nice bluing, but some of the areas are a little bit dicey. You can see a little bit of active rust here on the muzzle area. The bands, they have your typical wear on them. You've got a little bit of live rust there. And this is a 4-piece stock setup. It has like an indefinite sort of color to it. And many of them that I've seen are in this kind of shape. Really nasty black looking finish on there, but if you take it down back to the natural wood, you'll notice that it does have something that appears to be able to be stained correctly. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to take this down, starting with some pretty coarse 80 grit. This is some pretty odd looking wood. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this trying to get it back down to this color. Lots of sanding. And you'll notice that we do have some sap stains. And it's not coming out even yet. So this is a real good example of that. Look at the darkness towards the edges. And that's not going to stain good. We're going to use some oxalic acid. Wood bleach. See if that will tighten that up a little bit, because at this point it's not really going to have a good finish on it if we don't do that. So we'll get back to you in a minute. There's certain areas you can see right in here where it's kind of splotchy, and I just want to get it to the point to where I can get a little bit of pre-stained wood conditioner on there and then darken it up. So one thing you can do to pull some more of the cosmetics out of the wood is a heat gun. Warm the grain up. Then take a little bit of acetone. With staining in general, we're going to want to make sure less is better, because the stuff dries fairly slow. So we're going to pop the top on this. And try to stay organized here. One of the things you're going to want to do is put a couple of slits in the top of the can so the material goes back down in. Okay. That way the lid will seal and we'll be able to use this for a while. We're going to put the conditioner on. Take a little on the brush. Run it in each one of those grooves. On to the next piece. I think this is going to make it much easier to apply the color. Now I'm just going to apply some of this to the rag here. Try and messy. Initially sealed the wood with pre-stained wood conditioner from Minwax, and then we went over it with one coat of 114 Provincial. And the finish on this right now really resembles what you'd see on an SKS or a Mosin. And if you went over this with maybe 1 or 2 coats of True Oil, you'd really have yourself a pretty decent looking original finish. What I want with this is a little bit darker, so we're going to be going with, this is all Czar Exotic Redwood, and it's number 518. I'm hoping this is going to darken it up a little bit and bring out the grain while having a little bit of a red tone to it. Here we go. This has been setting for 12 hours, so hopefully it won't bite. Oh, I really like the effect already. Wow, that's gorgeous. One of the things you want to make sure you do when you're dealing with stain is I have a bag here with water in it and some towels. Make sure that you put all of your rags in that and wipe up all of your any spills, because a chemical reaction will take place and you can get oxidation, which causes spontaneous combustion. So you always want to make sure that your cleanup, you spend a few moments straightening your area out and getting rid of all of your rags. So this has some nice shading going on here, and you can see the grain is still popping pretty good. And you can't tell from coat to coat that it's getting darker, but the True Oil, when we go over the top of this, is really going to accentuate the grain. And I'm just real happy with the way this is coming out so far. This is going to act like a wick. We're going to put that right in there. Let's add a little more. We have a nice little dauber. I'll just get it seasoned a little bit. Okay. There we go. First piece. You can kind of rub it in real hard. Bring it up a nice shine. Okay. I don't want to get a lot in the grill work on this one. Much easier. True oil can be a little bit glossy. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to beat it down just a little bit with some Colonite insulator wax and some coarse paper towels. Paper towels can be abrasive if you catch this true oil at the right time. And I applied this about an hour and a half ago. And before it sets up completely, I'm just going to put that much, very little bit on there. And we're just going to zoom over that real quick. And what this is going to do is this is going to just bite in just ever so slightly into the wood. And just the abrasive of this paper towel, because that true oil has just been applied recently, that's going to take the finish down to a very nice matte finish. And I'll show it to you once we're done with it. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another edition of Toad's Shooting Show. We have a very special guest in the studio today. This is a 1942 Lee Enfield number 4 Mark I. And this is in just outstanding condition. And I picked this up and did a little bit of restorative work on it over the past week or so. And I wanted to kind of show it to you and share it with you. The number 4 was a culmination of several Lee Enfields prior, and I believe they've gone from number 1 to number 9 in order, so there's no way that I could actually even know all of the different transitions that they went through. But the Mark I was a culmination of several advancements as it would relate to manufacturing and ergonomics. For example, some of the features of this rifle: the stock is a little bit beefier. They have a very nice bedding system where you have a little bit of tension in the back and a little bit of tension in the front, with 2 to 6 pounds of up force on the barrel, so that each shot as you're firing, you're going to get the same type of harmonics through the barrel. And that kind of is going to help with accuracy. The bolt setup on these, this is a Savage Arms, Stevens Arms. It is part of the Lend-Lease program that the United States had with the British military, as in World War II, when their armories and their munitions and manufacturing were bombed by the Germans. So this was a Lend-Lease, and it says right on the side of it here, U.S. property, as well as the barrel is a little bit heavier than earlier models. For today's standard, it would probably still be considered a fairly thin barrel, but it is a little bit heavier. It has a very nice ladder sight on the back of this. The charger is actually part of the receiver. And this is a cock-on closing, so which really aids in cycling the action very quickly. Now I have to tell you, when I picked this gun up, it did have some significant issues with the wood on it. Well worn, and the sight on this is just as fine as can be. It goes out to, I believe, 1,300 yards. And you also have a battle sight 0 of probably 300 yards, 300 or 400 yards on this as well. Very attractive gun. When I first started looking at these, I didn't really care for them very much, but some of the features that they were putting in this rifle, you know, you get 10 soldiers together, you know, firing this style rifle downrange. A lot of times the enemy thought that they were being fired upon by semi-automatics. This does have a 10-round detachable magazine that you can charge from the top. And Another part of the process to save in manufacturing from the previous model, this sight actually goes over top of the barrel and sandwiches down, and it has a very simple bayonet that I'll probably pick up in the future. And there's a lot of markings on it with that geometric S, and I think that S is for Stevens. It might be for Stevens or Savage. And this is birch. And when I picked this gun up, the stock was black. It was nasty. It wasn't like your typical battle rifle. It was something from just kind of a little bit not up to par restoration. So, and then on this side here we have you can see on it right there, it says number 4 Mark 1 with the star and U.S. property. So this was part of the Lend-Lease program that the United States had put into effect in 1941. And I'm sure there's some things that I've forgotten about this. There were just getting these cuts cleaned out and stained properly. And this was a couple of different colored stains with a conditioner underneath. And 3 coats of True Oil, 1 sanded, and then 1 hand applied. 1942. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I am going to have a process video coming up very shortly. And like always, I appreciate you watching. So if you're a new viewer, hit the subscribe and notification bell for new videos. And like always, have a good weekend.